the whole concept is we're trying to remove as many barriers as possible. The more hurdles you remove for parents and the better access they have to you, the better results you're going to get every single time. Today, we're talking about the top mistakes youth pastors make when it comes to their online presence and how you can make it better.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where we give you weekly tips and tactics to help you fast track the growth and health of your youth ministry. My name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola. And today we are talking about mistakes youth pastors make when it comes to their online presence. And we're going to give you some practical tips on what you can include to make sure that your social media, your website, whatever it is communicating exactly what you want it to and maybe what it needs to help you get better results.
Yeah.
And sometimes this episode was sort of birthed out of years, actually, of me looking at different youth group websites or church websites or social media and sort of secret shopping. Like if I were a parent who wanted my kid to be involved in a youth group. We just moved to the area and I'm trying to find a church and some information about how to get my kid involved or plugged in. Could I do it just based on your online presence? And I hate to say this, but the majority of the time, the answer is no.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer because they're super easy fixes. And after today, if you could implement a handful of these, you will have a super strong online presence that will help someone go from not involved to at least know how to get started to be involved. And I think there's this blindness that happens when you're the youth pastor or have attended a church for a long time. You start to see things as an insider and it just makes sense to you. But look at someone else's website and do the test yourself and say, if I were a parent trying to get my child involved, or a student checking out a website, trying to find a high school group or whatever, could I get involved based on the information provided? And if not, it'll help you kind of see where your own might be lacking because everyone knows what this means. Well, it's like maybe in your city, in your church or whatever, but think of the new person. That's going to be the lens that we see this through, of always keeping the new person in mind. So let's talk about the website first. So a lot of churches have a website. Like I would be hard.
Step one, have a website.
Yeah. I mean, you'd probably be hard pressed to find a church without at least a basic website at this point in time. That would be shocking. Now, what happens after we get to the website? That is where we have a mixed bag of all kinds of experiences. So a lot of youth or a lot of churches I see, they will have a page that says something like ministries or student ministries or family ministries, something that leads me to be like, okay, this is probably the area for me. And you click on that and they might give you the option of children's ministries, student ministries, junior high, high school, whatever you're looking for. And then when you click on that page, here's where it goes wrong a lot of times. Maybe you can't even get to that page and it just says youth group meets every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 or something like that. There's no contact information. There's no extra information about what do you do and stuff like that. So imagine we get to the place where we're actually on the student ministry site. Here's what we need to be looking for. We need to, if you have your own website, which I do, so, I work at North Coast Church and there is information about my youth group on the North Coast page, but it's very bare bones. There is a link to click on to go to my actual website, which is nope, that's a different campus, chaosjh.com. And that's what opens up to the experience of my specific youth group. So is there a link to your specific youth group website? If not, that's okay. If you're not going to build your own website for your youth group, totally okay. But then you need to build out from the church's website. So you want to make sure you are super clear. And this sounds so basic, but I can't find it a lot of times. Where, when, and what time you meet. And how often.
Wouldn't when be what time you meet?
Well, what day?
Gotcha.
So, for example, ours would say we meet every Tuesday night from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Fallbrook campus of North Coast Church. I would give an address for that. Now I know, and a lot of times people just like throw out like, well, I'm going to save that for the social media. So, and then within that, an event description is really great. So you might, again, have insider language and be like, well, everyone knows what youth group is. Again, who are we trying to capture? People that already know?
Right.
Or are we trying to capture people who are curious?
Both, to be honest. So you need to have information that caters to both people.
I mean, if I had to choose, though, I would say I'm looking for, like, in terms
I think basically what we're saying is the person that doesn't know, you're going to give more information than they even need, you know, because you don't want to have them come back and be like, I can't find the information. Whereas if a person who always is coming, they might know a lot of these things. Over communicating is never a problem.
Right. So it's, you're trying to make sure someone who has never stepped foot on your campus, I say campus because we're multi-site, or church, has ever, like, they've never stepped foot. Could they figure it out? You don't just say in the fellowship hall. Like, that doesn't mean something to a non-Christian or a non-church member. It's like, where the heck, you know? So that doesn't make any sense to someone who hasn't stepped foot on your campus, which points again to signage as well, you know, of like, that night, make sure it's very clear the youth are in this building. They're not wandering around a church. Like, where do I put my kid? Like, this is so confusing. So making sure we stay away. The bottom line is you stay away from insider language. Do not use abbreviations. You know, even on our own website, we never say NCC. We say North Coast Church, you know, and it's like, well, duh, we're on the North Coast. But it's like, I had asked some people to change something on our website the other day because it was an acronym. And I'm like, that means nothing to a person clicking around your website. What is AON, right? Like, I get so frustrated when the schools send me an email and they're like, please participate in the PTO BAC, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I don't know what you're asking me to do because those acronyms are your world. Right. I'm just a parent. I don't know what you're talking about.
And you send us 15 emails a day. It's hard to sift through them.
Which is true. Yeah. I count sometimes. I'm like, between the elementary school and the junior high school, I got 15 emails, not even counting the notifications on my phone. Right. And everything's urgent, urgent, urgent.
Please read!
Exclamation. Is anyone else? Just us. Yeah. So sometimes I'm like, I'd love to do whatever you're asking me to do, but I can't define these terms that make sense in a school context when that's your 40-hour-a-week job. But when you're on the fringe of that, like, you're like, huh, I think this is what this means. So never leave somebody wondering by abbreviating stuff. Just spell it out, act as if nobody knows what you're talking about, and make it crystal, crystal clear. Another thing you want to have on that website, other than, so we break down like the weekends, like Saturday night, we meet at 5:30 p.m. every Saturday night at the Fallbrook campus, you know, and then Sunday morning, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and we give event descriptions for both of those, like what can you expect? And then a calendar of events. So I came across a church website recently and they're a fairly large church, and it was like upcoming events, and it was a little calendar with about this much information. Roller skating night. Okay. Like, what time? How much does it cost?
What year?
And so you couldn't click on anything. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a heading, and you click on it and then it will open up to, oh, there's the details of sign up by this day, and here, nothing. It was just roller skating night, April 26th. It's like, what? Like, where are you going? How, like,
meet at the church, meet at the rink.
Exactly. There's so many things. House. So the calendar of events, again, for every single one of those things has to be crystal clear of how can I like participate? Do I sign up? Do I pick up a flyer? Do I sign up in person? Like, how do I go to this thing? Number 2, how much does it cost? Number 3, and this one is so big. Who do I contact if I have questions? I am shocked at the lack of contact information on church and youth group websites. Email, office phone number if you don't want to publish your cell phone number on a website. I get that. But please have your email or a contact us button that goes to your email, or the church office number with your extension, something of like questions, contact David. And like if you could even put your picture there, that's awesome too, of like, this is the person that I need to get in touch with, and it should be very easy.
Right. Because again, you're going back to the person that's not been there before, and I'm going to be dropping off my 12-year-old son or daughter, and I have no idea who I'm handing them off to.
Right. And I think it should be, I don't know, like, I think people have different opinions on this, but I think sometimes pastors get elusive with communication
because they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah. Or they feel like, well, I don't feel comfortable, or like there's always seems like a little hesitancy. I haven't quite figured out exactly the why behind it. I could just only guess.
Maybe they've been either at churches or even at their current church where that's been abused. I feel like that's not been the case with you, but like you're saying, bare minimum, your email address is a fairly non-aggressive way of someone getting a hold of you. And if you have an office line with an extension, it's like, well, you can only answer it when you're there. I mean, if you're afraid of people contacting you after hours, you know, and then you don't want to give your cell phone out, I can understand that.
Sure.
But having at least an office line and a bare minimum an email address.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I'm not sending my child with you anywhere if I can't get a hold of you.
Right.
You know, like if I'm checking something out and there's like, it's impossible to reach a live, real, breathing person.
Right.
No way.
Yeah,
I'm
especially
not
if you're going on
dropping
an
my
event
kid
or
off.
something. Like, we're going to go to the water park or whatever, but I have no way of getting a hold of anybody.
Right. And again, then that only serves your insiders.
Yeah.
Right.
Assuming they even have your cell phone number.
Yeah. There's no way. Well, but they'd be at church and they'd be like, oh yeah, I know about the water park night. We're doing this, this, and this, you know, and everyone knows you and is comfortable, but it's very limited to your reach.
Well, I was just thinking more along the lines of if there was any kind of emergency where you needed to contact them and they were somewhere else, it would be nice to have a cell phone of somebody
100%.
to be able to reach them.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. On an event, there's no question. And then this is optional, but I think it really adds a lot of personality to your website of showing videos and pictures of your most recent events. Because just by watching that, someone can see like, oh, these look like totally normal people.
Yeah.
Here's kind of the subheading under this that I'm not saying. People, in my experience, I've run across a lot of people who have lost trust with the church. And them getting their child involved in a youth group is a big step for them based on maybe trauma they've had themselves when they were younger or something happened. And so they want to know who we are. Can we be trusted? Are we who we say we are? And get a glimpse of us from a distance, which is the website. That's a very safe distance to say, well, who are they? And can I move forward here? And so I think being like having video and pictures of like, look at all these safe, smiling kids and these normal leaders and people thriving here and life change and like, let them see like, this is safe. You can trust us, because sometimes people just like, I mean, I wish I only had a handful of people who have this story, but this story comes across my ministry all the time. Parents very scared to get their kid. They're new, you know, it's not like we hurt them, you know, at our church, but they grew up in some dysfunctional church that had some weird thing happen, some church trauma, and now they're like holding on to their children for dear life that it won't happen to them. And I hate that that's the case, but wanting to show people like, hey, we have nothing to hide. You want to get a hold of me? Get a hold of me. You want to see what we do? Here's what we do. I have no secrets to keep. I'm not being elusive. I'm not being dodgy. I'm being there's open transparency here. See our youth group, see our camps, contact me before you come. I'll talk to you. I'll email you. And the rate of return is very important too, like returning those emails and phone calls and all of that. That's the first step of trust with a parent or a new family or a student that wants to become involved. And it's like, oh my gosh, it took 3 days for them just to return an email. Yeah. It's like, ooh, when it comes to parents, when it comes to families, you've got 24 hours. That is it. Anything longer than that sends a message of, wonder if this is a priority to them. Yeah. And I get we're busy, like, fine, of course. But even just a quick, like, hey, got this, would love to connect with you. How about next, if you need to delay that, but it doesn't take any time I leave my email open while the water is boiling to make spaghetti and can return 3 emails in that time of just like, oh, sweet. Like, you find the time, right, if it's important. So a little rant on that. I know that didn't necessarily have to do with this 100%, but all that to say, I think contact information is a real non-negotiable for more than just, well, they need to know where the skating rink is at. Yeah. It's a trust thing. So now let's move on to social media.
Before we move on, I have a couple things I wanted to add.
Please.
Did you talk about address, or are you going to talk about that with social media?
So I kind of did.
Okay. I just feel like that should be very present under the contact.
I said I put our address in the thing.
True. Yeah. I feel like people assume people know where the Grace Church of whatever is. But
that's kind of what I'm getting to with the social media too.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was for your events page or things like that, make sure it's current and up to date. I've been at some people's websites and you click on it and it is like, well, I know what you guys did in 2023, but I have no idea what's coming up. Or then if things change. Mm-hmm. So this is a personal experience, not youth ministry related, but back many years ago when I first was getting started, I do screen printing on the side, and I wanted to there was a fairly local, about 40 minutes away class. On this website, it said, we're offering this free kind of, beginners screen printing thing like that. And I thought, sounds great, like free. And I don't know if you remember it, but I drove, like I said, it was about 40 minutes.
Was it the one up in Marietta? Yeah. Oh yeah, I do remember that.
And the front door is locked. And I'm thinking, well, I've been at this place before and I knew they had a back side to their business and that's where all like their machines and things like that were. So I thought maybe they're just having it around the back. There's no sign, but clearly I'm here at the right time. And so I went all the way around the building and I went to open the back door, which was open. And as I push it open, I set off the building alarm.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, well, now what do I do? I feel like I can't go in, but I don't know what to do. So I went back around to the front and I waited and finally somebody showed up.
The police.
It wasn't the police. It was one of the owners. And I said, hi, that was me. I'm here for the class. And he seemed oblivious, like had no idea. So there was somehow, I don't know if they canceled it or what. I don't really remember, but the class obviously was not happening. Yeah. And I thought, I was going off of your website information,
which you would think would be reliable, right. But you're right. Sometimes it's
like it was the right day, dormant. The right year, the right time. Oh, we're not doing that anymore.
But they never bothered.
Just delete it. Just
you're
say
the
canceled.
Only one who showed up. I'm surprised more
wow.
people
could have gone one-on-one. Instead, I just set off the building alarm.
Well, that's a really good point.
Though, if you have an event, like maybe outside of your normal youth group, or if your youth group for whatever reason, small group night out or something, you're not meeting there, then that person shows up to an empty church.
Yeah.
And it's
awkward.
Like, okay,
really bad look.
Yeah. I guess I'm not coming back here because you feel embarrassed. I was certainly embarrassed for setting off an alarm, but you just feel like this is awkward. Maybe I just don't want to come back.
Well, and so a good rule of thumb would be check your website once a week. I think I need to be better at that. Right before we did this episode, I'm like, if I'm going to talk about this, I better look at my website, because
this link is broken.
I hand that off to a couple of people who run it, and they run it well. They do a great job. They missed a couple things. And so I sent them, 3 or 4 edits of like, wait, this, but that, and we need to clean that up. And this is not updated. And so if that is you, if you're the one who updates it, you need to make sure, I think a good rule of thumb is checking in on it once a week to make sure everything's up to date and current, because that has come back to bite me before. I got a text from a mom like a couple years ago. She's like, hey, I'm confused. The website says this time, but then your calendar said this time. And then the announcements also said that. Like there were 2 different times and 2 things said this, but the website said this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. She had to text me to like, we just look like we don't have our act together. Yeah. And we didn't. That was a bad look for us. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is the correct time. And I just was like, darn it. I hate when that stuff happens, because you want to come across like we're organized, we're on top of it. You can trust, you don't have to go investigating. Is this really it? Like, I just want to be able to say this information is what is happening, bottom line.
Because at the end of the day, people are trusting their children with you. And if you look like you're not running a tight ship at all, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I feel comfortable with my kid going there.
I always ask myself, would an idiot do that? And if the answer is yes, I do not do that thing.
So you have your own dedicated website. Is it linked to the church's website?
Yes. Have you been listening? I already said that.
Maybe I heard it. Maybe I didn't.
Address, said it. Linked to the website, said it. Wake up, little snoozy. Smelling salts.
Yeah, so just so that if they're clicking, because a lot of people I think do have their website as part of their youth or as part of their church's overall page, which is great. But like, if you're going to have a separate one, making sure that one goes to the other. Does yours link back to the church's? Did you talk about that? Because if they go to yours, can they go, okay, you're part of this church.
Good
can
question.
I go back to
I don't
it?
know.
Oh, riddle me that.
Okay, that's a good question. You don't need to get all huffy puffy. That one's good. The rest were not. So you're one for 30.
I was reiterating. Can't over communicate.
Cool. Anywho. Social media, bro.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Moving on.
Okay, so I don't know. Maybe you still have a Facebook one that I've seen them. They are thriving. Great. I'm just on Instagram. So this could apply for any of them. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. I would not do a Snapchat. I don't know. Just my personal opinion. If you're doing it and it's working well, amen, brothers and sisters. But I can't we know social media can be one of 2 things. I don't know. And
Snapchat's more of the other thing.
I do think so. And I tried really hard to give it a fair assessment. I can't really direct kids there. I think without even trying it, you get into some pretty bad stuff very quickly. Yeah. And like the For You pages on Snapchat are bad news. So I was like, I think we're done with this. But let's talk about like bios, right? So here's what I see often that is not helpful whatsoever. So say your youth group is called Fire.
Very good.
You could have that one for free.
But with a Y. Ooh.
Mysterious.
For youth.
Friar. Because... I mean, maybe they're trying to name their youth group right now. Fire. Our youth group is Fire. Okay, so it would be like Fire, and then it would say...
It's lit, bro.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to extend that pause, make it like 10 seconds.
Add some crickets in. Tick, tick, tick.
Noted.
Okay, so then it would say Fire Youth Ministry of, and then they might at their church. Doesn't tell me a whole lot because that's all they'll say. It's like, okay.
So you're saying, if that's all they say.
Yeah, like you could say Youth Ministry at like North Coast Church, fine, but that doesn't give me anything I need to get involved. So then I start clicking like through their pictures. Maybe they gave me information in some of these picture captions or something. Nope. So now I have to go to your church Instagram and hope they have service times.
If you can find it.
But chances are, well, they at them a lot. So then you click on that and then it's like, well, chances are you're not talking about youth group on your main church page. So I still don't know when you meet or where or what time or how often. So here's what you want to do. You need times, locations, including the address, for your midweek in the bio. I should pull ours up actually. And what it says, junior high, this is the bio, junior high ministry of North Coast Church, Fallbrook. We need to be specific because we're multi-site. So it's not just North Coast Church. If you're a multi-site church, make sure you include the campus on there. And here's when we meet. Tuesdays, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Saturdays, 5:30 p.m. Sundays, 9 and 11 a.m. And then it gives the address. Right below the address, it gives a link to our youth group website. So everything you need to get involved would be here. You know the address, you know the times, you know the days, you know what church we're a part of, what campus we're a part of. And then if you scroll and look, well, I don't know if that picks up well on camera, but sometimes I don't like going to youth group websites because you look at their feed on their page and it's just a bunch of text. It's just all these words, different of, like, I know they're trying to use it for announcements, but it's such a boring feed. It's like, here's the logo for our new series. It's like, yippee. Like, what kid is so excited to like a banner for a new sermon series? Like, they want to see their friends. They want to see them. They want to see what the youth group is doing and who's there and what's going on. And I want to be a part of that, not like just looks like a bunch of like flyers, you know? And so make sure you have pictures of students, not just information. I'm not saying you can't have banners and stuff like that, but it's like not only that. Like, seriously, some youth groups, it's literally like, hey, all night event this Friday. And then the next picture is like new sermon series, something this, and then Easter services, 9 and 11. You're like, this is like for a school, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just like how, like all these, but if you post pictures and videos of the events and then in the caption, talk about what they are, like Glover Nighter coming up, here's the information you need to know. Use the caption for the information because the picture will get the attention and be like, oh, that looks fun. A flyer cannot convey fun. Action can. Yeah. Students in glow paint, like playing dodgeball can, but just saying Glover Nighter as a flyer, that can't convey who you are. And another pro tip would be not only linking the website in your bio, but if you have any event registration. So when we have camp coming up, we put that link in the bio so you can just click right there at the top and be directed to the camp sign up page. Yeah. Which is so great for students, especially new ones. Sometimes those kids aren't on our parent email list and they just need a quick way to get to the camp signups or the all-nighter signups, whatever you're doing, just make it so accessible and simple there. So yeah, I think the bottom line is be super clear.
Yeah. Also, like you're saying, how if you go to the youth's Instagram page, it's like, well, I can't see where the church is at, but I see they tag the church. So let me click there. Did the church say where they're at? No, but they have a website link. Let me click there. Okay, now I'm at the website. Like, stop making them jump from one place to another. Right. So like you're saying, it's like on Instagram, here's the registration to sign up for an event. Here's our website. Here's our church address, where it's like, I can get everything I need right here. Or if I went to the church website, here's a place to sign up for events. Here's the address. Here's like everywhere you go contains all the information that you need. So it's not constantly like, well, first click here, then go here, and then see if you can find it here, and then scroll down to the bottom, and maybe it'll be, it's like, no, it's like everywhere you go, it has the same stuff.
Right. And I just looked up another one right now while we were filming because I thought, oh, this one's probably really good. It was not. I won't say, but I was like, oh, I'll use them as an example of here's some other pro tips. But you can't, like we said before, you can't just link the church because now you've sent them on a treasure hunt. Like the church's primary website, at least ours, is not like the front page of it. Like here's the youth pastor and here's all the information. You're still going to have to click around to find it. So if someone's going straight to your Instagram or your Facebook page, why not just put all that right there? Here's who this is for, 6th through 8th graders. This is the days and times we meet. This is the address we meet. This is the church we meet at. And now you can scroll through and see who we are, but at least you have all the nuts and bolts and you don't have to guess.
Right.
Like, where are they?
I remember seeing that information. Where did I see it? Was it on this page or was it on, it's like anywhere you go, you're still going to find all that information.
And like the whole concept is we're trying to remove as many barriers as possible. Like every time we create a new hurdle or a new hoop, chances are, like if I, like the website I was looking at the other day where I was telling you it had like roller skating night, but nothing to click on, I'll click around for a couple minutes and then I'm giving up.
Yeah.
And then if I cannot contact someone easily to ask a question to, I am 100% moving on. If you're not a parent yet and you're a youth pastor, please do not underestimate how busy parents are and how many people and organizations are vying for their attention. Your youth group is a part of their life. Right. They're also on a baseball team talking to the coach and they've got to get an order in for their, uniform. And then they have the booster club and then they are on PTA and then the school and then their kids project is due. And oh no, everyone has a dentist appointment. Like their inbox is filled with all of these people vying for their attention. So if you're a younger youth pastor that has not experienced that yet, know that the more hurdles you remove for parents, the better access they have to you, the better results you're going to get every single time.
Yeah. It's good. Strong stuff. This is
fired up about all those school emails, man.
My gosh. And the other thing is like most of the time when you get them, I would say 9 times out of 10 or more, you're like, I don't need this right now. I don't need this information right this second.
Right.
So
But then they send it again and again and again, like fundraiser for flowers, fundraiser for flowers. And I'm like, I don't need it. Bye-bye. Then they send it in the afternoon, in the morning, in the evening.
They're over communicating, which is not a bad thing. But I think there's, I'm going to get on a tangent.
I know. We better cut while we're ahead.
I can't end up finding, even though they send me 20 emails on the same thing, I can't end up finding it because they're all labeled weird. That's a school district issue we have. Never mind.
I'm exhausted.
It's not besides the point. This is the community comment of the day. This comes from Faithful R8Q, who says, you have no idea how much your videos help me out with our youth ministry. So thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate that. We love hearing those things. We thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Today we're talking about 5 words that should describe every youth ministry. Today we're talking about the 5 most powerful words that can describe your youth ministry. Today we're talking about 5 words that should describe every youth ministry. What are 5 words that should describe? Today.
Hello.